Hello and welcome to our second episode of our Tuesday Photo Critiques. This photo is taken by Vanessa. She's one of our Photo Basics 2 students. And we've already had a chance to talk with this, but I just wanted to give you guys some input on what I think about this photo and also some additional things that you can do, Vanessa, to improve this just a little bit more. Okay, this was the original photo as it was shot. And then I gave her some feedback last week to turn it into black and white. And the reason why is because this color right here I'm not a big fan of. And I know these are supposed to be complementary colors or whatever they're called, but it's just not working for me. So I had to turn it into black and white, and this is a photo I personally think is much more successful as a black and white photo. Normally I'm not a big fan of it, but in this case it removes the distraction of the colors and brings your attention more to the face. So again, here's our before and our after, and I personally think it's more successful. The one thing that you lose with black and white is that you lose contrast in colors. So one thing that is making her pop from the background is the contrast of the colors. You've got this color that is contrasting with the red, and you've got her face that is somewhat contrasting with the red. And notice what happens when you turn it into black and white. You lose a little bit of that contrast. Now the only thing that's contrasting her from the background is contrast in luminance or in brightness, and also contrast in depth of field, and also contrast in patterns. So normally when I change a photo to black and white, I almost always exaggerate the contrast. So that's what I had Vanessa do, which brings her to about like this, and I think this looks a lot better, and this is starting to become a very successful black and white image. So this is Vanessa's image as she resent it to me with that feedback, but I just wanted to say a couple more things about this. First of all, let me talk about why I really like this image. There's a couple things going on that I really like. First of all, I love these leading lines going right to the focal point, and the idea is that your eye naturally goes from this end of the page, follows those lines, and then intersects with the focal point, which is awesome. The other thing that we've got going on is what I call interrupted patterns. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody else call it that, but I'm going to call it that. So interrupted patterns means that there's a pattern that is going on that is interrupted by your focal point. So we have two different interrupted patterns going on here. We've got the pattern of this little, whatever you call this. I'm not a home builder. I know there's an official name for it, and I can't think of it. Side wall thingies, I don't know. Anyway, so you got these patterns going on, and they're broken by her face, which is great because it immediately draws your attention to her face. The other interrupted pattern that we have going on are these windows. So you've got this succession of windows that stops at her face. So in two ways we have an interrupted pattern, which is awesome because it just totally brings attention to the focal point. The other thing that I liked about this is the way that she's posed. Now our Photo Basics 2 class is kind of a posing class, and so for this class that's what she was working on, and I really like shooting women from the side. And the reason why is because when a woman is photographed from head on, she is the widest she could possibly be, which we don't want. Women want to look small, so the one way to make them look small is to turn them to the side. So now her body goes from here to here, which is much smaller than what it would be if she were facing head on. So this is a very skinny pose. So well done, Vanessa, on that. Making her look good. The other thing that I wanted to mention, now normally we talk about what I call direction of the photo, which if you were to ask yourself which way the photo is moving, at least in this photo, I think it would be going this way for two reasons. First of all, the leading lines are drawing you that way, but also her body is facing that way. And normally what you want to do is you want to leave room. So if we were to like notice how all the room is on this side and not much room is on this side. So normally when the direction of the photo is going a particular direction, you want to leave the photo room to move. So what you would normally frame it as is you might crop it off here and leave room on this side, which I think would be a successful image. But in this photo, that's not what you're doing, which I think works for this photo, which is really cool. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it does. So she feels a little bit cramped on this side, which I think works because of the expression. So she's kind of given a serious expression, kind of bad to the bone expression, I'm tough expression, I'm a rule breaker expression. So it kind of fits to break one of these rules by hugging her to this side a little bit. Basically, it kind of gives the impression that I don't care about the rules. I don't care about the photo rules. I am who I am, which in this photo it works because of her expression. But I would be interested to see what it would look like on this side. I'm really curious. So Vanessa, that's one of your assignments, is to take this photo again, same place, same location. Luckily you have a model who's going to hold still, and do the exact same thing, but put her on this side of the photo. Frame it exactly, or I'm sorry, compose it the same. Everything's the same except she's on this side of the photo. I just want to see how it looks. Okay. But I'm betting that this one's going to be the better image, just because it just works for the photo. And the other thing that makes this work is, for some reason, a lot of people, and I find that I like the depth of field for things in the foreground to be blurry and things in the background to be in focus. It's kind of fun to kind of break the rules, because normally you have the foreground in focus and the background out of focus. But in this one, you kind of have the opposite going on. The prominent features, the foreground is out of focus, and her being kind of in the background. I mean, you got this, but she's kind of in the background. You've got her out of focus, which I think really works very well. Okay, so far the image is looking good. The other thing that I would add is I would go a little bit more on the contrast. So I've already taken the liberty of adding a layer in Photoshop just to show you what it would look like. And I think that is kind of making her pop just a little bit more, gives the image a little bit more depth. The other thing I do is maybe add a vignette, draw the attention a little more to her, but the problem that I have at this point is that her face is really dark. She's really not popping out of the background like I would want her to. So the other thing that I did is I just lightened her face just a little bit. So again, let me show you all the edits that I did. So this is before, this is after. I think that is just a little bit more successful. Subtle, but a little more successful. So congratulations to you, Vanessa. This was an awesome photo, and I'm very happy with how that turned out. So we'll see you next week. Thank you.